Howdy folks, I'm Bashful Barnacle, briskly balancing beside bobbing blue boats.
I'm Amber.
And here are more bobbing blue boats for us to balance beside, even though we are bashful barnacles, which means that we should probably just be stuck to the hull of the boats. So let's get started on that. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Getting an Extra Order of Fries for My Girlfriend? I feel like I'm going absolutely crazy for this being an argument, and I need someone objective to tell me if I messed up. My girlfriend is a French fry bandit. She always takes half of my French fries without fail. We would go out and I would get a burger with fries. I already know half are going to be hers. My issue is that French fries are one of my favorite foods because I have the palate of a child. I always get myself a side of fries, and I always ask my girlfriend if she wants fries as well. And it's always a no. But once they show up, half go to her. So recently we were out to dinner and I wanted steak frites and she said she wanted a salad. I was hungry and admittedly had a bad day and was grouchy, and I asked her if she also wanted fries with her salad and she said no. So when the server came, I ordered for us and I ordered my steak fries and a salad for her and an extra side of fries. She said that she didn't want fries and I said that I wanted the extra fries, so we pushed on. Well, when the server dropped off the food, I immediately pushed the extra fries to her. She was upset. She said that she didn't want them. Then I said that I would have them. As we got into the car, she told me that I was being a jerk and ordering fries for her when she said that she didn't want them, and it was incredibly condescending of me to assume I knew what she wants. The kicker is that she actually ate the extra fries, so she wanted the extra fries. I ate my fries, and she pretty much ate the entire side, even though I was planning on eating them. She's been with me for a year. Of course I know she's going to eat the fries. She does it every single time. She's mad about it, and I feel like I'm taking crazy pills on why I'm the jerk here. All right, folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. OP, your only mistake was pushing them toward her. She would have just stolen them anyway. But honestly, it might be time to reevaluate this relationship. I mean, maybe that's a little far. But if someone was eating all my fries, I'd be like, we're done.
Amber doesn't share food.
I don't share food. No, but kind of on a serious note, I think it's worth having a conversation with her about the way she's treating you, because you were right. She ate the entire fries, and, explain to her that you like having your whole order of fries. You really enjoy fries and you don't want to go hungry, and so you're happy to buy extra fries. You will enjoy eating the extra fries, but she can't eat your fries, if you don't have extras.
So, I think I agree with Amber in the capacity of, I think that OP should have just ordered the extra fries and not pushed them towards her, and then she would have taken them on her own, right? It may be that she feels self-conscious about ordering extra food, and she doesn't want to come across as like being a pig or anything like that, because in our society there's a lot of pressure on women to act a certain way in public and to control their food and their habits, and this could also be an indicator of maybe potentially an eating disorder. So I think that OP should approach this with with kindness and compassion, right? I get where OP is frustrated with this, because they feel like they were doing her a favor, but this also might help to make her even more self-conscious about her fry eating habit. So I would kind of approach this delicately, personally.
I know that might be fair. I just feel like she should be able to communicate more maturely and not give you the cold shoulder or whatever she's doing that's angry with you because you knew that she wanted fries even though she said she didn't want them.
Well, it's certainly not a mature way of approaching this, but how old are they? Did they say they were?
I don't know.
That doesn't sound like they're very old here. It sounds like this is probably a pretty young relationship in general, and this is just part of learning how to communicate with your partner, and I think her response here is incredibly in poor form, right? I think that OP was trying to handle this in a mature way. They're like, hey, I'm just going to order her extra fries. That way we're both happy. And OP was put into a lose-lose situation here, right? So maybe in the future, OP can order extra fries and just not tell her that they're ordering extra fries for her, right? But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Refusing to Change My Name? And Amber wants to read this one.
I'm a 33-year-old female, and I recently left my husband, and one of the things we're fighting about now is my last name. For some background, I have a PhD in computer science and work in academia. I've published papers, presented at conferences, reviewed research, and built a professional reputation that's tied to my legal name. When we got married, I did not want to change my last name. I wanted to keep my maiden name because all of my degrees and early publications were under it, and I knew changing names would make things more complicated professionally. My husband insisted it was a deal breaker. He said he couldn't marry someone who wouldn't take his name. I remember specifically explaining that my career would be tied to whatever name I used, and I still remember his response because it bothered me even then. He laughed and said something along the lines of, "That's good, then you won't be able to just leave me over stupid stuff like dreaming I did something wrong." For context, I've been the primary earner throughout our marriage. My husband has mostly been unemployed. He's done things like Uber on and off using a car I bought, but I've paid the mortgage, bills, insurance, and pretty much everything else. I've now left him for reasons like that. The issue is that he now wants me to change my last name back immediately. Ironically, I'm refusing for exactly the reasons I gave him years ago. Since getting married, I've published even more papers, supervised graduate students, received grants, and become known professionally under my married name. Changing it now would create confusion with citations, collaborators, students, and my professional identity. Plenty of academics keep the same name after divorce for exactly this reason. He's furious. He says I'm stealing his family name and damaging the reputation of his family by continuing to use it without staying in it. His family does have a history locally. Several older relatives were major landowners and business owners decades ago, so the surname is somewhat recognizable where we live. But my husband himself isn't a public figure, and neither are his parents or siblings, and they have mostly lost the wealth now due to the gambling and bad decisions. I pointed out that he was the one who insisted I take the name despite knowing it would become attached to my career. He says that's different because we were married then, and now I'm using his family's name without belonging to the family anymore. All right, folks, what do you think?
How dare OP sully his family name with research? Ugh. And contributing to the world in a positive way. Gross. I think that OP is doing his family a huge disservice. The thing is, I don't understand his reasoning, and I don't think that his reasoning is sound or understandable. I think that this is just purely spite at this point in time.
That's
right?
it, exactly.
So I don't think OP needs to pay any attention to this guy, and they can continue to use the name that they said that was going to be tied to their research, and this guy was given plenty of forewarning, right?
Yeah.
He was told at the very beginning, if I take your name, it's going to be what's on my research papers for the rest of my life. He agreed to that because it was a deal breaker otherwise. Now he has to deal with the consequences of his decision. That's the way the cookie crumbles. If you don't want somebody to have your name after a divorce, then don't force them to take the name to begin with, right? So that's kind of my view here.
Yeah, exactly. And OP, this name is as much yours as it is his. You changed your name. It is legally yours. There is nothing he can do about it. He can sulk, he can pout, but he cares so little about you that he's willing to destroy your entire career to be petty. You do not have to listen to him, kind of echoing everything Brian said. This is your name. You're free to keep it. Ignore him and just let him whine.
I mean, I think that he is reading far too much into the whole idea of what a family name is, right? Mm-hmm. OP is contributing to the world. This is, like you said, her last name, right? She took this name. She's published under it. She's done what she has with it. And I think that's perfectly fine. I just, at the end of the day, think that this guy just needs to, once you're divorced, OP, you'll never have to hear from him again. Hopefully, if you don't have children, then even better for OP in this particular case, right? So I don't know that OP really has anything to worry about here. Now, if OP were going around and building a reputation off his last name, I could understand him being a little more annoyed. But again, that's not a problem in the capacity of he forced OP to take this name, right?
Well, that's the thing is honestly, he deserves everything that comes to him from that. You don't get to take someone's identity and then be mad when they keep that identity.
Yeah.
OP wanted to keep her original name, and that was her right, and he never should have forced her, you know? I mean, that would be a major red flag to me.
Yeah.
And different people have different values attached to their names. So, you know, I'm not saying OP was in the wrong for listening to him, but the way he approached the situation was very gross and controlling. And, it, you know, if someone is in a situation like that, look long and hard at the relationship because it's maybe a sign of things to come.
Yeah. Well, I will say this, right? I think changing the last name is perfectly fine. Like, I know a lot of people don't like their last names and they look forward to getting married because it gives them an opportunity to change their last name, right? But his comment about being like, oh, now you can't run away from me is what I think is the red flag here, right? More than anything. Because the fact that he would make this joke and, you know, basically accuse OP prematurely that they would run away for some petty reason or something like that shows an underlying characteristic that is just kind of gross here.
But also use it as a trap. Like he's pretty much said outright, this is a trap. You cannot leave me.
So I think like I'm glad OP is getting out of the situation. I feel bad that this guy is doing this, but again, hopefully OP doesn't have to deal with him after this point. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, I'm a 23-year-old female and my boyfriend, a 26-year-old male, won't let me hang up my framed IUD in the bathroom. I'm a 23-year-old female and my boyfriend is a 26-year-old male of 3 years, doesn't want me to hang up my framed IUD in the bathroom. I got my IUD replaced today and I asked my doctor if I can keep the one that she's removing as a memento. This was my first IUD ever and it was easily the most physically painful experience that I've ever had. I've seen a couple of women keep their IUDs and other medical devices as a way to feel proud of what they've done, but also keep a fun keepsake. Now that I've gone through a second insertion and I have my original IUD in my possession, I think that it would be fun and silly to make a mini frame and hang it up in our bathroom. We don't have any roommates, it's just the two of us. He thinks that it's weird for me to hang it up instead of keeping it tucked away, but I don't think that it's that big of a deal. If anything, it's a reminder of what women have to go through for pregnancy prevention. It's like a trophy for me. Is it weird if I hang up my IUD in our bathroom? All right, folks, what do you think?
I understand OP's desire to have this memento. The problem is this is a shared space and you have to take into account like both each other's interests in that respect. Now, is there a way you could like use it in a piece of art or something? Because I understand like a framed IUD in a bathroom that maybe guests are using and whatnot too. Like it shouldn't be a weird thing and like, you know, it's just a natural thing, but it's not necessarily going to be everyone's cup of tea. So like maybe there's something artistic you could do with it that would make it, you know, a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, it's a medical device. And that's really what it boils down to at the end of the day. I can understand, you know, OP's desire to celebrate this, you know, milestone if they want to, you know, say it like that. It does show that they persevered through this painful experience. And I can understand, you know, sometimes, you know, it's the same thing as like hazing, where people who get hazed actually have a stronger attachment to the organization that they've been hazed in. It kind of builds this like psychological, like, oh, I worked really hard, or there was something that I have some very big barrier that I had to undergo in order to be part of this. And so if I had to make a guess, I would say that it's probably something along that line here. And I can understand, you know, human psychology is a really complicated thing with a lot of, you know, quirks in it. So I understand OP's desire to hang on to something that they felt like they struggled for, right? But I do think that the boyfriend's opinion on the decorations that go up in the house also needs to be considered. And also the guests that might be potentially going into the house, their comfort of the situation might be need to be considered as well. So I agree with Amber that maybe there's another way of honoring this, and having some kind of art, or maybe putting it in a different place that isn't going to be necessarily having guests exposed to it.
Or jewelry. Actually, I know some people make like IUD earrings, not with real IUDs, but like, you know, with like plastic or something like that. But you could make the real deal.
Yeah, I think that doesn't actually solve the issue the boyfriend
It
has it.
may not, but it would be on Opie's body, so then it's
Yeah,
not his territory anymore. Because like
yeah,
a shared space is tricky, because
yeah,
you both are invested in it. If he finds it weird for Opie to wear it as jewelry, like he can be weirded out, but like it's Opie's body.
yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Is This Too Much for a First Date? 27-year-old male and a 25-year-old female. So I'm a 27-year-old male, and I've been talking with this girl, a 25-year-old female, for a couple of weeks. We met on Tinder, and we have scheduled a first date for tomorrow. I've been liking her vibe so far, and I wanted to do something a little extra to be sweet and show her that I care about her. A couple of days ago, she mentioned being bummed out about having to return this book that she was reading to the library without finishing it. She said that she couldn't renew it again already. I had an idea to run out to the bookstore near me and buy it for her to give it to her for tomorrow. Is this too much, or is it sweet? I don't want to come across as love bombing her or anything like that, but I want to do something special. All right, folks, what do you think?
I think that's sweet. This is husband material right there. That would steal my heart. But I think a book, as long as it's not like some super expensive special edition, is not like on the order of like this is a concerning level of money to invest in a first date. It is a kind gesture that shows that you're paying attention to her interests, and that goes a long way in a relationship, to listen to each other and understand what the other person likes. And so love bombing is a control technique. And if you I don't think like getting someone a nice little gift is going to be misconstrued as love bombing generally. Everyone is different in how they interpret things, but it's if if you give her a love confession with the book, yeah, like that's getting concerning. But if you just give her a book, that's just a sweet gesture.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is, people commonly give gifts on dates, and I don't think that this is any different from that. So, if she reads this as something else, and she's like, calls OP a creep or something like that, then maybe that's not the right relationship anyways, because OP is doing this for what seems to be out of the kindness of their heart. Now, if they were to buy this book and then try to hold it over her and say, well, I bought you this book, you need to come back to my place and hang out with me or something like that, nah, that would be kind of gross, right? But if this is just, hey, I remember that you want this book, here, have it, no strings attached, there's nothing wrong with that, right? The only time gifts really become a problem is when you try to use them as leverage against somebody and try to coerce them into doing something that they don't want to do but feel obligated to do now because of the gift. But I do agree with Amber. If this was like a $500 special edition book or something like that, then that also kind of runs into a kind of a territory of being too much. But a $20 book is probably not going to be too much for most people.
Now, I don't know what kind of genres OP reads, but if you want extra brownie points, you could get a copy for yourself, or like share the copy or something, read it beforehand and be like, oh, you can borrow my copy. Or, oh, look, I have 2 copies of this book. Let's read it together.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
What do birds say on Halloween?
Oh, I would say they say chirp, 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 because that's what they say every other day.
Trick or tweet?
Oh, I see. And I have liquor or spice.
And speaking of books, today is a very special day. It's Buy a Book Day.
Yeah, buy a book day.
I know that we just had a book day last week, but this one, so now it's a Buy a Book Day, because I bought a book the other day at a local bookstore in Bangor called the Briar Patch. I went in to sign my books. I don't know if any of you are in the area, but if you are in the Bangor area, you can get signed books from the Briar Patch now. You could get the first one anyway, but now you can get the second book too. And while I was there, I picked up this one's called Stephen King's Maine, A History and Guide. And it basically takes you around different parts of Maine and how they're connected to Stephen King.
It's a lovely book. Lovely book. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Friday, Junior.
Happy Friday, Junior.
Thanks so much to Amber for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it on buying gifts for people.
Buying thoughtful gifts that say that you listen to someone is a great idea.
I agree. But thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.